Welcome to Creative Nation Art and Season 2 of the Nation Podtalk. We bring you inspiring stories from athletes, artists, and creators across the globe. Today, we are thrilled to welcome a special guest from Hong Kong, Ayush Shukla, the strike bowler for the Hong Kong national cricket team. Ayush has been a game changer on the field, playing a vital role in Hong Kong's qualification for the Asia Cup. Known for his fiery pace, pinpoint accuracy, and calm under pressure, Ayush Shukla has emerged as one of Hong Kong cricket's most promising talents. As the strike bowler for the national team, he's been instrumental in some of their biggest moments. Most notably, he played a key role in helping Hong Kong qualify for the prestigious Asia Cup. Ayush has made headlines by dismissing some of the biggest names in world cricket, including Indian skipper Rohit Sharma, showcasing his skill. Hosting this exciting episode is our stunning and talented host, Kritika Bhardwaj, bringing her charm and energy to the conversation.
Right, so welcome to another episode of the Cnation podcast. I am Kritika, your host today, and today we have a rising star in the international cricket joining us. That's Mr. Ayush Shukla, and a lethal new ball bowler. Now, see, he's going to explain you really well about what he does and what he's from, and whatever the reasons that we are here to talk about cricket and this rising star here. So, hi Ayush, welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Firstly, thank you very much for having me. I'm really honored to be here. My name's Ayush. I play cricket for the Hong Kong national team. I've been playing for them for the last 2 years, and I could say I'm an opening bowler for them, and I've been the opening bowler ever since I made my debut in 2022, and it's been nearly 3 years now, and since then I've traveled around the world and played cricket all over the world against many different countries.
Yeah. So what I've heard is that your performance you've played a crucial role in the Hong Kong's league, that was recent Asia Cup league. So how was that experience all over?
So the Asia Cup actually was a pretty interesting story. So leading up to that Asia Cup tournament, or let's say the qualifiers for the Asia Cup, how it planned out to be was that it was the Asia Cup qualifiers in end of August, and right off. And we were, we had a long tour. We were very tired, and this was the last part of our tour, these Asia Cup qualifiers. It was a very last part of our 3-month-long tour where we traveled. We haven't been home in 3 months. We've just been living in hotels and, cricket hotels. That's what we've been doing for the last 2.5 months. So we came to this last tour, and, honestly, our bodies were very tired, very, very tired. But we were like, this is one last push. And the tournament layout was four teams, and one team goes through. So basically, we just have to win all of our games. It was between us, the UAE, Singapore, and Kuwait. And honestly, we were like, okay, we tried our best, but deep down, if I'm being honest, all of us were very tired. We weren't gonna give our best, but our hopes weren't high until the last game. And we played Singapore first, we beat them. We played Kuwait for second, and we beat them. And then we were like, okay, we actually have a chance. Like, if we win this game against UAE, then I'll be playing against India and Pakistan in the next week. Like, that was basically what I was telling myself, that if I win this last game, I'm going to be playing against India next week. And fortunately for us, we did really well, and we won, and it was amazing. And honestly, the feeling of qualifying was better than ever, knowing that I'm going to Dubai. So this tournament was held in Oman, and we were going to Dubai literally tomorrow. We flew the next day to Dubai and played the Asia Cup. And we played India first in that tournament. So our group was India, Pakistan, and Hong Kong. And obviously, being an Indian, for me, those are probably the 2 biggest countries I could be playing against ever. So we got to Dubai, and we entered the hotel, and you see all these players from all over the world, like Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and we're like, this is surreal. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm just another kid coming to watch the cricket, not really playing in the tournament.
Oh, bro.
And leading up to that, all the craze I've heard or seen about Indian cricket has always been through the TV or hearing stories, because I lived in Hong Kong my whole life, so I didn't really understand what the craze of Indian cricket was. So I always, I didn't know what to expect. And we were, I got on the bus, we went to the game, and I think I genuinely felt the nerves when we walked onto the ground and we sang each other's national anthem. I've lived in Hong Kong obviously my whole life, but I was born and bred in India. My parents are Indian. I spoke Hindi before I spoke English. So for me, it was just, it was like as we were walking on to our national anthems, in 10 feet across me was, Virat Kohli in his pads, ready to walk out. And I was like, getting ready to bat, or, getting prepared. And I was like, I can't believe I'm actually standing here. Like, how? Like, a week ago, I was like in Oman, being unable to get out of my bed because I was so tired. And a week later, I'm in Dubai Stadium, standing, watching India and about 10,000 people sing the national anthem. So for me, that was a huge thing. But as soon as our national anthem came up, Hong Kong's national anthem, I realized that, obviously India is where I'm from, but Hong Kong is my home. And, I realized that I'm playing cricket for Hong Kong. And I think that's when it really set in stone for me that, like, okay, we're here to play cricket. Yes, these guys are, superstars of the game and fans, but we're here to play cricket. And that's when I think all the nerves went away. And I just treated it like any other cricket match.
You've taken Rohit Sharma's wicket, right? So how was that? How does it feel to dismiss the world-class player, Mr. Rohit Sharma? I mean, for our Indian community, every Indian is like, all right, he got us the World Cup, and then now another Asia Cup was there. So how does it feel that, okay, Rohit Sharma out, and it's what? Who's this Ayush Shukla? He took it. How it came on?
I mean, for me, it was more shock than it was happiness. I was just more surprised that it actually happened because,
yes.
So I was just telling you, so the ball before I got him out, I got hit for a boundary. I got hit for a 4. And that was the first boundary he hit me for. And in my mind, I was like, okay, so he's going to hit me for another boundary anyways. So I might as well just try and bowl a slower ball and see what happens, I'm just rolling my fingers over the ball and see if he hits me for 6, fair enough, he was going to hit me for 6 anyways. And when I bowled the ball, it was all in such a blur of a moment where from him hitting the ball to the fielder catching it, it was just all just happened in a matter of 3 seconds. And the next thing I'm just running around the field being I can't believe that's just happened. It was just, for me, it was such a shocking moment more than a happy moment, because I didn't realize what had happened until I don't even know, I just didn't realize it had happened. And I was like, okay, I mean, it was just, I was more in shock than anything. I was like, okay, this is crazy. I can't believe I just done that and it's happened. And honestly, firstly, I was just so grateful to even be put in that position to, just being able to bowl to players like that. And I bowled the first ball to Virat Kohli, and the funny thing was that as soon as Rohit Sharma got out, there was maybe a 5-second silence, maybe 5 to 10 seconds of silence. And then the crowd just erupted again because as he left, Virat Kohli walked and everyone just went berserk. And that atmosphere is just I feel like no matter what country you're playing in or against, it will only be the same if you're playing against India, because that craze, right? Like I said, but yeah, I mean, it was just a shocking thing. And my dad and my brother traveled. So my brother lives in London and he traveled to London from Hong Kong to Dubai, and my dad flew from Hong Kong to Dubai, and they were sitting in the crowd. And they were maybe the only 2 out of the 5 people wearing red, because everyone else was wearing blue for India. And we were wearing red for Hong Kong. And as soon as I took the wicket, I turned around and I could see my dad, and I'm just pointing at him being I can't believe this happened. We're here right now. So, and my brother, there's actually an Instagram reel that went even more viral than me taking the wicket, was my dad celebrating and getting interviewed about that. But yeah, honestly, it was just, if I try to think about that moment, it was just all such a blur. But all I know is the feelings that I had and the emotions I had were just crazy. It's one of the greatest days of my entire life. And I'll tell my kids about this story and everything. It was just surreal. It was surreal. I don't know how to put it into words other than I bowled the ball and I got Rohit Sharma out. Yeah.
This
But
just gave me goosebumps, me being a cricket fan. I've just recently started, as my husband is more of a cricket player plus
yeah,
he loves cricket too much. So we've started watching after we got married, and then every night whenever there's a match in between India and some other team,
yeah,
we're just sitting there, and I'm like, "Uncle, what is wrong with you?" And I'm watching reels and doing everything, and he's just shouting right there, just right sitting like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
how is that? I go, what is wrong with you, dude? And he's like, you don't know
That's
it. It's in the blood.
the craze.
It's just like it. And then you taking Rohit Sharma's, wicket. It's a big thing. It just gave
Yeah,
me goosebumps. Like, yeah, wow, what a surreal moment it would have been for you.
yeah. And honestly, what even made that whole like day even better was that after the game finished, they invited our whole team to their changing room.
Oh,
So
of course, you
yeah,
might.
so we
Who's this guy who took my wicket? Well,
yes,
I
so
need
we
to meet
walked
him
into
in person.
exactly. So we walked into the Indian changing room, and I mean, like I was just I don't even know. Everyone was there. Like I was like standing in front of Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant and Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid. So by that time he was the head coach. But yeah, it was just such a surreal moment. And we said, and I was there. We were there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we just sat and we all just had conversations with them. And they were very curious about our lifestyle more than we were about theirs. They wanted to know like how's life in Hong Kong, like how have you started playing cricket, like because for them, I mean, for obviously Hong Kong's part of China, and China is not really known as a big cricketing country. So for them to be like, oh, how did you ever even get into cricket, or like, what's the life like in Hong Kong for you to end up playing cricket? And Hong Kong has also played India in 2018 in the Asia Cup, where some of the players from our team now played back then. So there was some of the other guys like Jadeja and Rohit. They recognized some of our players. Like, oh, I remember playing against you guys in 2018, and for them to come back now and play in 2022. So yeah, it was just like we had sat down with Jadeja and Rishabh Pant, and we were just talking about our lives, like just like it was like meeting a new person. You know how you meet a person on the road or a mutual friends. It was like that, and they were really down to earth people and surprisingly very curious about our lives. But so yeah, and then after that I was like
this happens with the Indians basically. That's Indian cricket team players you've met. So first thing that there is that they're Indian. So we do have this curiosity. And how do you start all this and that? So
exactly.
it is the best way to enhance yourself, knowing and learning from others. Let it be if that's a younger person or an older one. So everybody teaches you something, and that's what happened there also. So they were curious.
Exactly.
Well, how do we do it? And if the, if we talk about it, it's a question mark for people like us to know that okay, Hong Kong also have a cricket team. So when I first
Exactly.
know about you also, I was like, Hong Kong, that's a team too. But yes, when then
Yeah.
I researched and I learned more about it, okay, yes, it is a team, and we do have good players. And then I came across you right away. So
Yeah,
all
exactly. And for them, it was such a big surprise because we were speaking like we spoke in Hindi, right? So for them, they were like, "Oh, you're like Indian-born Indian." Like obviously, there's some of our guys who are Indian-born, and they're like, "You're Indian-born, like you're Indian, but you're not like you're playing cricket for Hong Kong. Like, how did you even end up playing for Hong Kong? How did you get?" So they were very curious, and it was it really it was very surprising to know that for them they have a lot more going on in their lives. They're big superstars. But at the end of the day, like cricket brings us together, and they wanted to know about our lives. But yeah, anyway, so we were in the change room, and I was like, I went up to Rohit, and I was like, I mean, like I have to take a picture with you, right? Of course, because A, you're Rohit, and second, like I've gone you out. And he was just very kind. He was like, well bowled, where are you from? And we had got to talking, and so we took a picture at the end, which I still have in my phone, and that's a photo that I'll always have. I have photos with. I had to take pictures with Virat. Took a picture with Jadeja because I had a nice conversation with him. But yeah, it was just all an experience from like a week ago being in Oman, thinking that like okay, if we somehow like pull off a miracle, we'll be playing against India. To the week later, sitting in the Indian change room having a conversation with the best players in the world. So yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. And then the craze after that, like obviously we got onto the bus after the game, and I opened my phone, and I literally could not get into my phone because of all the messages and the Instagram followers and the tags that I got on my phone, that I couldn't even like scroll through my phone. It was like, it just started like lagging because there were so many messages. And then that week after that, people messaging me from people I've not spoken to in so many years, telling me like, I just saw you on TV. Like, what are you doing on TV? Like, I haven't seen you in 10 years, and now next thing I see you is you're walking in TV. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was, but it was a moment that I will never ever forget, of course, for the rest of my life. And now that Rohit, Kohli, Jadeja, these guys, they're all retired from T20 cricket. I don't know if I'll ever get an opportunity to play against them again, but the fact that I even got one opportunity is more than enough. So yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I don't really know how to put it.
Much better place now. Abhi, you've started with the Asia Cup. There are many more things to come, and I know, as you being a fast bowler, you've already created yourself and made clear to everyone in the Cup that, yeah, excuse me, there's somebody, Ayush Shukla, that you cannot forget. So yes, you're going to be doing much better, and all the best for that.
We've got good hopes. We're actually qualified for this year's Asia Cup as well. That's happening, and I mean, if it's in Sri Lanka or UAE. So depending on what group we're in, we might be playing India again. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, our players, the ones who are playing for T20 now, they are also pretty good, I believe.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
for them, because of course it's the Indian team, and I don't want to mock anybody here. But then, but no, Hong Kong is also an emerging good team, and players like you are already making it shine right away. So I wanted to ask you something. Tell me, you being a fast bowler, it's demanding. How do you train and prepare to stay in top?
So that's a great question. So obviously, as a fast bowler, without any bias, I think fast bowling is the toughest job in cricket. It's harder than being a batsman. It's harder than being a keeper because of the pressure that you put on your body, right? Yeah. So the biggest thing I can say about being on top is consistency. How consistent you can be with your training regime, schedule, but not just about the training, but what you do after or outside of the training. Like you can have 2 or 3 days where you recover well, you eat well, you sleep well. But if you don't do it for the next 2 days, there's no point doing those 3 days go away completely, like they get bad. So the biggest thing for me is consistency. Finding a good schedule and a good regime by and sticking to it, being consistent throughout the weeks, throughout the months, no matter what situation, time, where you are, if you're on vacation or if you're training or, if you're injured. You need to make sure that the consistency and what you're doing it on a daily basis, because as soon as you do it for a week or 2 weeks and then you stop doing it, it literally you collapse basically.
That's a nice thing to know. Well, but consistency is the best key for in any field, wherever you feel like doing it.
Exactly.
Plus, so you have a training regime, or how do you manage your?
Yeah. So obviously, being part of the Hong Kong team, we have a proper training schedule where we train 4 times a week, and in those 4 times a week, it's 2 gym sessions and 2 cricket sessions, and then we have Sundays where we play like our matches for our clubs. So we go back to our clubs. So we train as a Hong Kong national team in the week, and then in the weekend, we go to our respected clubs and we play cricket for them. And then we have Monday and Saturday off, like from training. So that's when we decide to do any extra work with the coach individually if needed, or you go to the gym or you rest. It's completely up to you what you do, but you're responsible for that. So yeah, so Tuesdays and Fridays we go to the gym. We have a gym here in Hong Kong where all the players come and gym. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays we train at the only ground in Hong Kong that is available for us. So I just stick to that, and then when I know that I have a game on Sunday, so I'll make sure to rest Friday in the day, and then do a light training session in the morning on Saturday, and then get ready for Sunday. And it requires sleep is the number one thing. Like if you sleep well and you recover well, obviously diet. I have to keep in track of food and water and everything else you consume. Obviously there are times where I can get a bit carried away and I can eat, a nice little ice cream or something, but I try my best to stay on top of what I eat and what I drink. And those are two of the biggest things. And then obviously recovery, which is, stretching or doing the ice baths or doing, icing, you're making sure. So basically it's injury prevention. If you're training that many times a week and then you're playing cricket, and that's when you're not playing tournaments, because that's when we're in Hong Kong, and then we go on tour and we're playing, rigorous cricket for 10 days. In 10 days we're playing 6 games, so that's very strenuous, especially on a fast bowler's body, to be able to play 6 games, where it's back-to-back games. So injury prevention, sleep, and diet, those are probably the 3 of the biggest things that I focus on when I'm not training.
All right. So who has been your biggest inspiration so far?
If I'm gonna say in terms of sport, I think in cricket, definitely my biggest inspiration was Dale Steyn, because obviously the talent and the skill that he had, which was huge, but it was how he dealt with his injuries. He unfortunately had to retire earlier than maybe he wanted to, because of a shoulder injury that he had, and then an ankle injury. So for a player like him who played not as many games as he should have because of how good he was, he only played, if I'm talking about Test cricket, he only played 95 games, but for how much of an impact he left behind on South African cricket is massive. And unfortunately for him, he dealt with a lot of injuries. But I see him as an inspiration because of every time he came back, and he gave it everything he had until he couldn't anymore. So I definitely think he's Dale Steyn. Obviously his talent and skill, regardless of that, the way he approached the game with fire and fear, with fire and fearless bowling, is something I try to, take on, obviously as much as I can. But I think he's definitely one of the biggest inspiration in cricket for me.
Very nice. Good to know. You've got the detailed information about your inspiration too. Well, you need reading around it. So do you inspire from him in many ways? Do you amplify all those things in your bowling?
So the biggest thing I can amplify is the fire that he brings, the celebrations, that aggression that he brings. I really, really, I've always admired it. So I'm not going to try and say I copy it, but yeah, I think that's where I get whatever aggression I do have and I, portray on the field. It's kind of, growing up seeing Dale Steyn, when he used to take a wicket off a big batsman in a crunch time, he would celebrate, and that really stuck with me. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to take a wicket off a big batsman, and I want my teammate, I want to be around my teammates and be that fire, because people used to be, so the aggression that he had, that's the biggest thing I want to take away from him. But the biggest thing I also want to learn from him is that, how injury set his career back massively, or I mean, he was still a great of cricket, but he could have been the best if it wasn't for his injuries. So as something to learn, I mean, I don't know exactly how he was able to do his recovery and stuff, but from what I see, and the fact that he had to keep getting pulled out of games or rested from games to injury is something that keeps me aware of how important injury and recovery and all of that is. Because I mean, no matter how good and great he was, I'd never want my career to be ending like the way it is for him, where he was forced to retire because his body couldn't deal with the kind of pressure or basically the pressure that cricket was giving to him.
Right. So what's next for you? Any special goals for the Asia Cup and beyond you've planned?
Well, absolutely. So now that not sure if you heard, but now that Asia Cup has expanded, it's become a bigger tournament. So before it was 6 teams in the tournament, now it's 8 teams, which means that 3 associate teams come through. So it's India, Pakistan, and 2 associate nations, and then Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and another associate nation. So with the fact that associate nations are in our team, it gives us more of a chance to beat them. And if we beat another associate nations and somehow we have a great day out and we can beat one of the the big countries, that puts us through into the next round of an Asia Cup. And beating a test nation is huge, right? I think the biggest goal for us with the Asia Cup coming out is to somehow, with the right mindset, right attitude, we have every possibility of beating one of these big countries. So I think that's the biggest goal for us. Going to Asia Cup is an experience and it's off, and we're grateful to be there. But to be able to go and perform and beat a team like India, Pakistan, or Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Afghanistan would be surreal. That's something that we play our cricket. To be able to compete against the best of the best and do well against them. So yeah, definitely that's probably our biggest goal as a team and for myself as well. Coming up with the Asia Cup in September is to go and maybe beat, make an upset and beat one of these teams.
Very nice. So, do you have any advice for your, the upcoming young bowlers who inspired by you, look at you, and then they're like, all right, we'll train like Ayush Shukla now.
I think the biggest thing for me is train hard, work hard, because talent only takes you so far. It only takes you so far. The talented players, you can be good, you can make it to that level as a talent, but to do well at the highest level is working hard is required. But the biggest thing is, I think, is tough days will come. As a bowler, you have more bad days than you have good days, and I know that for experience. I know that I've had more bad days as a bowler than good days, but you play cricket for those good days and for the bad days. You play them so never ever give up, you could say. If you have a bad day, you can have the worst days, like horrible. I've had some horrible days where I've even thought about, I don't even want to play this game anymore. Like, why do I play this game if I'm coming here? But the harder you work after those bad days is when the good days come, if you know what I mean. Many people can be like, oh yeah, I've had 2 or 3 bad games, I'm not going to play anymore, or I'm going to, come with a bad attitude. But it's how you come back from those bad days, 100%. How you come back from those failures and those bad days is kind of defines the type of cricket we are. So I think that's my biggest advice, that you will have bad days, but the good days are worth it. They're worth the bad days. That's basically my biggest advice. Yeah.
Wow, you have such a positive inspiration for everyone, and everyone should be there for you. Teaching somebody is a different thing, but then encouraging somebody in a positive way, that matters much more than that of it. Because teaching is there, what ABC is, we will remain ABC. But then if you tell them you can do it, it's not that big of a deal, then that what's make the difference for one person to.
Exactly, and honestly, I can tell you there are so many players that have so much talent around the world. I've seen it because I've played against players, and I'm like, you are so talented, but talent will only get you so far, and then after that, to be able to consistently perform or as consistent as you can at the highest level is what hard work is. And even though you pay the hard work, sometimes yes, you will have bad days, but it's worth it when those good days come. You will forget about the bad days. So yeah.
So you have a message for your fans?
Just thank you very much for keeping updated on the things that I do. Keep following, please. It feels great to know that so many people are watching, or so many people acknowledge the cricket that I play and Hong Kong plays. So keep following Hong Kong cricket because we're doing big things very soon.
Wow, perfect.
Thank you so much.
So we'll see you more. I've checked your Instagram. Nice profile.
Thanks.
I haven't updated it though. I believe you should now, because it's people must know, and there are limited stuff on your. I think you have 13 pictures up, right?
Yeah. I need to post. Yeah, I will for sure.
Yeah,
I just come. I'm just too lazy, but I need to do it.
It's all right. Your dad's reaction is much needed there. How was it?
Yeah, they repost my dad's
videos as well. That'll be good for your Instagram. So much for meeting with
no
me
worries.
on Zoom. Whenever you visit India or I come to Hong Kong, I'll definitely going to see you.
100%. Let me know whenever you're in Hong Kong. Of course.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for this interview. And
of course,
I'll just follow you on Instagram also.
Perfect. Take care.
Thank you. You too. It was actually very nice talking to you. It's been a while I've been thinking about, but wow, thank you so much. You really made my day.
Of course. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.